Yes, you read that right. I said that everyone should have a pet gremlin. I know what you're thinking. Why in the hell would I want a gremlin as a pet? They're ugly, menacing, they make a complete mess out of things, and worse, they multiply with water. Now, mogwai, that's a pet that most people would love to have. Only a mogwai takes a lot more work. I think of a mogwai as a new hairstyle, cute in the beginning but turns into a rat's nest towards the end. Now I know gremlins are an unsightly reminder of how inherently chaotic our world can become. And no, we're not constantly fighting against little green monsters that seek to wreak havoc on our towns. However, we are fighting against our own dark impulses and the bad habits that could very well result in our own demise. So in this video, I'm going to explain why everybody should have a pet gremlin. So please stay tuned.
Something, will you? How come a cute little guy like this can turn into 1,000 ugly monsters, huh?
Well, you see, this is before it enters the pupal stage.
The pupil stage.
You're right. Plus, it multiplies with water.
Oh.
I can't lie, I love a good Christmas horror movie. Yet there are only two movies that have done it right. A Nightmare Before Christmas and of course the cult classic Gremlins. These two movies shine lights on the dark side of Christmas. It's not always cheerful and merry, and for some people, maybe a lot of people, it's completely miserable. With Christmas, we celebrate rebirth. However, we fail to understand that with every creation, there is an underlying level of destruction. Nature inherently keeps a precarious balance. This means that when something is creative, well, something else will be destroyed. Gremlins makes a mockery of this principle by emphasizing the West's egomaniacal tendencies to want to have it all. Many of us want to reap the benefits of the harvest without tending to the soil or the crops, if you know what I mean.
I'll give you $200. That's $200.
I'm sorry. Mogwai not for sale.
We see this concept playing out with Mrs. Deagle, a miserable old cat lady who blatantly confesses that she is all about the money, honey.
Miss Harris, the bank and I have the same purpose in life, to make money, not to support a lot of deadbeats.
She has no sympathy for families who have lost their jobs and can't pay their rent, especially around the holiday season. Then you have Gerald Hopkins, the 20-something that mocks Billy's lack of ambition. Hopkins is happy being a complete a-hole and absolutely willing to sell his soul for success and material gain.
Look, I'm a junior vice president at 23. By the time I'm 25, I'm going to have Mr. Corbin's job. By the time I'm 30, I'll be a millionaire.
Mr. Pulitzer, Billy's father, is a plump, kind-hearted inventor. He still believes that he will find his success some way, somehow, even when the bathroom caddy and the smokeless ashtray turn into a total bust.
Dad's machines, they work so well the first couple of weeks, and use this thing.
You know, the funny thing about Mr. Peltzer is that he is a walking parody that embodies the concept of creative destruction. He longs to create, but all of his projects break down and fizzle before they have a chance of completely taking off.
Friend, all you do is you take your toothbrush out and you push this button. That's no problem. That's absolutely no problem.
Most importantly, there is Billy. He is the sensual character who receives a mogwai as a gift. Like most men around his age, he is trapped between two worlds, the world of creation and the world of destruction. Billy, loving to draw in his free time, is a kind and sensitive soul. However, Billy is forced to go to work. He's a teller at a bank and is constantly surrounded by people like Mrs. Deagle and Mr. Hopkins. These are the two characters who are blatantly gloating about how much they love money. Worse, Billy is stepping up as a man of the house. He supposedly supports his family while his father pursues his inventor career. Now, it is also implied that Mr. Peltzer put his dreams on hold to maybe pursue a family, and he too probably had a miserable career. And maybe he went through a midlife crisis, is now deciding that he wants to try his luck as an inventor. And with all this said, maybe Billy is following the same fate, prioritizing work and money as opposed to putting forth his own creativity and his spiritual growth.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin.
Barney wouldn't have hurt you, Mrs. Deagle, honestly.
Excuses. You're just like your father. I've listened to his miserable excuses for 10 years, the loser.
Both Mrs. Deagle and Mr. Hopkins are characters that represent Billy's dreams unrealized. And although Billy is doing a great job of working and supporting his family, his ability to create is slowly eroding. You see, energy, and particularly creative energy, works very much like a spigot that you turn on and off. The more you use it, the more you have. Sadly, if creative energy is not used, the spigot can get clogged and corroded, making it incredibly difficult for the creative juices to flow. Now, I've been a creative person my entire life, and yes, I'm totally aware of the fact that many people, and yes, corporations will suck all that juice out of you. They will take your ideas, they will take your best years, they will take and take and take, leaving you with absolutely nothing. Sorry for going off on a tangent. However, seeing Billy sitting behind that teller counter brings back so many terrible memories. Moving on. What I was trying to say is that creative destruction works both ways. Negativity can derail progress, but also not pursuing your dreams and your creative aspirations can cause apathy and yes, self-destruction. This, my friends, is a resounding theme throughout the Gremlins movie. Now, let's take a look at Gizmo. He is cute. He's a cuddly little guy that everyone would love to have as a pet, me included. More importantly, Gizmo appears to be completely harmless. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Gizmo represents our desire for pleasure. Having a glass of wine, buying an expensive dress, eating chocolate can be a once-in-a-while treat. However, when you become overindulgent, we become addicts, obese, and badly in debt. In short, behaviors that we deem as harmless can quickly spiral out of control. Worse, these behaviors are heavily prevalent in our culture. We see this with Gizmo watching TV, emphasizing the huge role that media plays in our daily habits and behavior patterns.
Little green men. Continue to circulate. More from
You teach him to watch television. Hi-ya.
We also see many pop culture references from Stripe cruising on a skateboard or the trench coat flasher to the horrors of Gremlins transfixed to the movie screen. Not to mention all the sex innuendos and the senseless violence are all examples of how media reinforces bad behaviors and compels us to act on negative impulses. Now, speaking of negativity, there is a reason why gremlins can only survive in the dark.
Smile.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
No.
What happened?
In truth, gremlins also represent repressed thoughts and ideas that float around in our subconscious mind. While regular gremlins multiply with water, our thoughts in our subconscious mind grows with external reinforcements. For example, watching fast food commercials will make us crave junk food. Influencers promoting a new gadget will make us want to purchase that new gadget. Seeing a friend pulling up in a fancy new car will make us want to purchase something similar. Over time, we become addicted to the experiences. Our minds become so overrun with negative energy and negative thoughts. In other words, our minds become overrun with gremlins. They wreak havoc on our souls and on virtually every aspect of our lives. And of course, the only way to triumph is to fumigate, to get rid of them all. And the only way to do that is to expose those gremlins to the light. Now, exposing yourself to the light might seem like some crazy religious process. However, I'm here to tell you that it's not that difficult. All you have to do is become the watcher of your thoughts. That means that you'll need to become more mindful. This will allow your creative juices to flow. And then once you're finally rid of those pesky gremlins, you may want to keep just one as a pet. This one gremlin will serve as a reminder of how crazy things can get when you're not in control of your dark impulses and your suppressed thoughts. So what do you guys think about Gremlins? What do you think about Gizmo? What do you think about repressed emotions and bad impulses and thoughts? Please sound off in the comments below.